Hey there, thanks for watching this video. Today we're going to be going into detail about growth and taxes, talking about some of the strategies, not just with permanent life insurance of how we grow our money, but with how financial products work in general as it relates to growth. And then we're going to be talking about the tax implications of those. So these two things oftentimes go hand in hand because the IRS, right, whenever we're making money, they want to figure out some way that they can get their hands on it. And so understanding growth and taxes is fundamental for building a financial foundation that's going to last and that's going to be something that's beneficial to you in your life. So let's first talk about the three different ways that we can build growth in our financial accounts. So we'll start with fixed. We'll use a different color, blue for fixed. So we'll talk about fixed rate accounts. So fixed rate accounts, they're going to grow steadily and consistently, but typically it's not going to be much to write home about. It's not going to be anything that blows your socks off from a growth perspective. Now, examples of this are going to be things like savings accounts, CDs, and bonds would be a good example of fixed type of accounts where your money grows steadily and consistently, but on a fixed rate basis. So that's how that works. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's talk now about variable. So variable accounts, this is probably where 90% of America has their money. This is 90% of your 401ks, your IRAs, and stuff like that. At least when someone's in their growth and accumulation phase, they have that money in a variable account, which is simply having that money invested in the market to where your account value is going to be doing this, to where you're going to be rolling, riding a roller coaster to where you hope, and the stock market shows us that the overall trend of the stock market in the long run is going up and up and up, but you never know. We're on for a roller coaster ride the whole way, and then we have sometimes like 2008 that could recur where that may just devastate somebody's financial portfolio depending on how they have that structured. So these are going to be your variable accounts. Really, these are stocks. I'll also just write 401k in here so that you can understand, because here's one other thing where you're probably already aware of how this works, but I talk to a lot of people to where they say, yeah, I've got a 401k, and I'm like, great, what type of investments do you have in your 401k? And they're like, I have a 401k, and they're not familiar that the 401k, an IRA, a KEP, a SEP, a KEO, all of these different things, it's just simply the name of the tax code, and it's just like an empty bucket. And you can fill that bucket up with stocks, you can fill it up with bonds, you can fill it up with, REITs, real estate investment trusts. There's all kinds of different things that you can fill your 401k bucket up with, or your IRA, your different retirement accounts. It's just simply the tax code. So most 401ks and IRAs, because that's what most people have, are primarily composed of stocks, bonds, or different hybrid products. So for most people, all they're aware of is just these two strategies as far as having interest credited to their accounts, is that they say, well, I can get it on a fixed basis or it's going to be on a variable basis. And that's because up until the last few decades, really, late 90s, early 2000s, this third option was only available to the ultra high net worth and financial institutions. We're talking that you had to have like hundreds of millions of dollars of investable assets to get access to this type of a strategy. But this is really the key to building wealth, and the awesome news is that it's available to you and me, the average investor or the average person looking to build wealth and put money away. This is what we call an indexed strategy. So with this index strategy, it's kind of like a hybrid between fixed and variable. I probably should have put it here in the middle, but it takes kind of the best of both worlds, because really what are we talking about the pros are with here? The pros are that you don't take any risk with this. You're passing the risk off to the financial institution. You're never going to lose money in a fixed rate product, right? With a variable, what are the pros to this? Well, you could see some fantastic growth, but by that same token, 2008 could happen again, or the dot-com bubble of the early 2000s, or we could talk about all these different times where the market just took a huge hit. So these variable products, yeah, you can make fantastic money, but you can also, by the flip of a coin, lose great sums of money. So that's kind of the downside. One thing we didn't talk about, downside of fixed rate products, is sometimes they don't even keep pace with inflation, and so it can be a downer if your money's not keeping up with inflation. So what index products do is they kind of create the best of both worlds, to where if the market, they're not invested directly in the market, but they're tied to a market index, such as the S&P 500, to where as the market grows, so does the account value. If the market tanks, then your account value may level off. When the market picks back up again, your account value grows. If the market tanks, then it levels off, and so on and so forth. So your account value may look something like this. If this is our growth, right? And this is time down here, is that over time your account's going to grow. If the market tanks, it's going to level off for a while, and you're going to kind of see this stair-stepping of building wealth. And so the trade-off of this is that there's typically some sort of a cap to how much growth you get to participate in. And let's just say, for example, that that's 10% in a particular product. So you may have a cap of 10% and then a floor of 0%. So that's how these products work, is that there's a cap of 10 and a floor of 0%. When I talk to a lot of people, sometimes they're like, that's way too good to be true. That doesn't exist. And I guess it's kind of a recent development. I mean, it's been around for about 2 decades now, but that's how those work. The way that happens is that the financial institution who's offering this product, they're buying what's called a call option. The easiest way to understand what a call option is let's compare it to real estate. Let's say that you have a home that you have up for sale right now for $100,000. And I come to you and I say, hey, you know what? I want to buy your home. I don't want to buy it right now, but I want to have the option to buy it in the future. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pay you $5,000 right now for you and me to sign this legal contract. And what this legal contract says is, a year from now, I will have the option to buy your home at whatever the market value is. But by that same token, I will also have the option to let this contract expire, and I won't exercise my option. So let's say that a year goes by and that your home that was worth $100,000 is now worth $150,000. That's incredible, appreciation, right? So on my end, am I going to exercise my option to buy? Absolutely, because the market value on your home has gone up to $150,000. Fantastic. But let's say by that same, flip side of that coin is that the market value has declined from $100,000 down to $50,000. So am I going to want to buy your home at that point? No, I'm going to want to let my option expire so that I don't have to buy it at that point. So, but either way, I paid you the $5,000, you're happy that you got the $5,000, and we kind of shake hands and say, well, it either worked out or it didn't, depending on your perspective and what side of the transaction you're on. So that's how this works. And I like to bring that up because there's sometimes, and I've talked to somebody, he's incredibly financially literate, he's an investment advisor who knows a lot of things about financial accounts. But one thing that I was just surprised about as I talked to him about this is he said, well, I don't like how the insurance company or how the financial institution, how they keep the growth above 10% in this example. And I was like, that's not even close to how it works. It's simply a contractual agreement that the insurance company or the financial institution is purchasing, saying, hey, we're going to have the option to capture up to X amount of growth. And if the market performs, great, we're going to exercise that option. If the market doesn't perform, then we're not going to exercise the option. And so it's not a matter of, oh, the insurance company is keeping all the growth above 10%. It's not how it works. You're buying an insurance call option agreement, an insurance contract that guarantees you growth between here and here. And so that's the details of how that works. So hopefully this has been helpful on the growth side of things. In the next video, we're going to cover taxes and the implications of how those relate to these different accounts. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next video.